Hey friends, welcome back to another porch chat. The weather is cooperating with me today for a porch chat. It is a beautiful fall day. There's like a nice cool breeze, but the sun is somewhat shining and it's pretty great. So far we've had a really mild fall and it's just been some really beautiful days of just the perfect fall weather. Makes me want to just curl up with, my fall sweaters and maybe a warm cup of electrolytes. This is a good time to mention that this video is sponsored by Element. Element is an electrolyte supplement that I have been using every day for a very long time. They have so many delicious flavors, like fruity flavors, and I will mention that the lemonade salt is back in stock now. Lots of people loved it. It went away for a short time, but it was so loved that they brought it back really quickly. So lemonade salt is back in stock, but you also might want to try some of their warm flavors now because we are into the fall season. These are the two that they have year round. There's the chocolate caramel salt and just the regular chocolate salt. These are really great just in hot water. You can drink them, just in hot water. You can add a little bit of cream to make it kind of like a salty hot chocolate. You can add them to hot chocolate if you want it a little more rich and decadent. You can add it to tea. It's really, really good, like in a chai tea. Lots of great options there. So if you want to try out Element, try out the flavors, as well as see if, the science-backed ratio of electrolytes is right for you, you can get a free sample pack just by using my link, drinkelement.com/indigo, drinklmnt.com/indigo. Click that link, go to the website and order anything, and you will automatically get that free sample pack added to your order. The sample pack has 2 sticks of each of their 4 most popular fruity flavors in there, so you can try them out or pass them on to a friend. So thanks again to Element for sponsoring today. And now we are going to get into some questions. I've had a lot of great questions on my recent videos, although I will mention there are not very many recent videos these days. I've been kind of taking a step back from the YouTube and just trying to upload, at least once a week. I still would like to upload at least once a week, but I'm just trying to focus on getting back into the swing with homeschooling and cooking real food for my family and just focusing on some other things and then seeing how YouTube fits in beyond that. October is actually my anniversary month for YouTube, and I have been on YouTube, I think October 14th will be 14 years. Is that right? I think it was 2011 that I started, and it's 2025 now. So I'm pretty sure I'm hitting my 14th anniversary having a YouTube channel, which is so wild to me. And there are times where I have, lots and lots of stuff to share and I'm posting almost every day. And then other times where I just don't quite have as much, on my mind to share, or my schedule is not allowing for it. It kind of just dips down, and I still try to stay consistent, getting at least that 1 video a week or so. But it just ebbs and flows with the years. It's impossible, or at least I have found it impossible, to keep up with a really strict schedule consistently, especially for 14 plus years. So that's just kind of how it goes with my YouTube channel. We're kind of, I think, through the holiday season, I'm going to be posting less, and then we'll see where we go from there. Anyways, so first question I am going to chat about is from Amanda12345. Says, I'm so glad you're feeling well and able to enjoy many foods that you once had to avoid. My question is, how do you feel about hormone health and eating low fat? According to some experts, they say high fat is best for thyroid and sex hormones. Okay, so this is a really good question, and I have put a lot of thought into this because I have come from the same, low carb keto world where we hear that messaging often about how important fats and animal fats in particular are for our hormone health. And I do still really value fat, and I really value healthy fat. Obviously, not all fat is created equal, And I really value animal fats as well as some plant fats like coconut oil or olive oil or avocados, things like that. And I am still including those things in my diet, just in a much smaller amount. So I'm definitely not jumping on the bandwagon that says all fat is bad and we should just keep it to as minimum or completely zero if we can. I don't believe that. I do think fat is important for hormones and for everything else. There are essential fatty acids that we need from our diet, all of that. I do think that in the keto carnivore world, when we're dealing with a framework that is inherently low carb, so adding in carbs is kind of not an option when you're in keto. And so when you are having hormone issues, I think a lot of hormone issues can come from just being too low in calories or too low in energy calories in particular. And so if you've been on a very low calorie diet, a low calorie keto diet, your only option to increase that is fat calories. So that's what we hear from the people in the keto carnivore community. They're not going to say, go add carbs to get your calories up. They're going to say, if your calories have been too low, add fat to get those energy calories in to help your hormones. But when you step out of the keto and carnivore, world, a lot of people will recommend, if you've been under eating, to increase both carbs and fat, or, one or the other, or some kind of a ratio of both, because it's really important to get enough calories in for your hormones to stay balanced and in a good place. So all that to say, I am lowering my fat, but I am not lowering my energy calorie intake. I think I'm getting a baseline amount of fat to cover my basic needs. And for those that haven't been around for a while or haven't heard me say, that's around like 30 to 40 grams per day. And like I said, it's coming from animal fat, avocado oil, olive oil, avocados, coconuts, coconut oil, things like that. 30 to 40 grams of fat per day. I think, this is just my opinion in this season of life, I think that's plenty to meet my fat needs. But as far as just meeting my energy calorie needs, I'm getting most of those from carbohydrates now. So I think if someone were to go maybe like on a PSMF type diet where they're eating protein and then only 30 to 40 grams of fat without carbs, I think that could cause some hormonal problems potentially. But if you're eating that 30 to 40 grams of fat plus, your baseline of protein plus an abundance of whole food carbs, you're not going to be in that, and this is my opinion, not going to be in that same danger of really messing up your hormones due to being in a low calorie or low energy state. Now, as far as thyroid, I think the same kinds of things apply. If you're having low thyroid symptoms on a keto carnivore diet and possibly just increasing your calories by increasing fat, that possibly will help. I think, eating sufficient calories if you've been under eating for a long time is going to do you good in nearly every part of your life. I do think, though, that carbohydrates are uniquely helpful for thyroid problems and low thyroid in particular. It is shown that being keto or low carb carnivore can lower your thyroid hormones, and a lot of people find they get a lot of benefit from adding some carbohydrates for their thyroid. So while I do think that adding some fat, if you've been under eating, could possibly help with your thyroid, I think adding some carbs could also help in kind of a different way. So that's just my opinion on that. And as far as tracking hormones, I have had some blood tests done. So I have, some data to go off of. And then in the next few months, I will probably test again just to see where I'm at, make sure things are staying balanced. When I had them checked before, things were all good. So of course, at my age, I'm 41. This is when, things start going up and down and changing, and it can kind of get unpredictable. But just to kind of keep an eye on it and kind of see where I'm headed with it. That's what I want to try to do. So in the next few months, I will probably get my hormones tested again. Next question is a quick one from Paula Laird 272. Says, since you're eating grains again now, have you looked into milling your own grain to get the benefits of real whole grain? Okay, so this is something that I have noticed popping up in my YouTube algorithm for quite a few weeks now, if not months. And that is that grinding your own whole grains, especially to make bread and things like that, has become really popular again. Obviously, this is not a new thing. Grinding grains and making bread is a very ancient practice, but it has made a resurgence in the wellness world, which is kind of funny. It's just so funny how things kind of come back around. Everything's always like a rotation, because we went through the phase of grain brain and wheat belly, and just like the demonization of grains, you know, like they're all bad. They're all bad. And then now things are kind of shifting, and we went through the phase of carbs are all bad, and everyone should be carnivore. And I feel like things are shifting a little bit again from that. And so now we're into grinding our own whole grains and getting the benefits from that. So as far as answering the question, yes, I have been looking into it a little bit. I have not, I mean, you can dive real deep down the rabbit hole of grinding your own grains, and there's whole programs and YouTube channels all dedicated to this. It is very fascinating, and I think there's definitely something to it. I think getting your food as close to nature as possible is a really great thing to do. I think, you know, as much nutrients intact as you can get in your food is probably a good idea. And so, like I said, I have been looking into it a little bit, and I actually got a grain grinder. A company contacted me, and they sent me one, and I have already filmed a video. I just need to get it edited and approved, and then it'll be coming out in the next, I don't know, week or 2 weeks or something like that. So you will see that. I'm not like diving into it like this is my new identity now. I don't know that I want to make grains that big a part of my diet. Right now they are, especially like the gluten containing grains. I do eat rice quite often, and I've been eating oats more often, but more the gluten containing grains, especially wheat, I don't have every day. I have maybe once a week or so, something like that. And I'm like, I don't know if I really want to make that a daily part of my diet at this point. I'm still kind of trying to decide, but you know, if these whole freshly milled grains are as miraculous as some people say, maybe I do want to make them part of my everyday diet. I don't know. I'm just not quite there yet. But I do have some content coming around grinding whole grains and making bread with it. Last question, and this one is also related to hormones, so I wanted to get it in here. This one is from Anna MC3II, I believe. Thank you for sharing this testimony. If it's not too personal of a question, have you noticed any improvements with regard to your periods? So this is girl talk now, so the guys can sign off at this point. Okay, so where I've talked about this before, kind of like this is so silly, my period goals in changing different things. Certain things that I wish for as it relates to my period. Back when I was keto and carnivore, my cycle started coming about every 24 days. Now that is still in the realm of normal, and so it's not like this huge concern. But for me, who is someone who deals with iron deficiency and low ferritin, as much as I can avoid, you know, those periods being so close together, like that's what I want. So I wanted something to make my periods kind of come at more of that 28-day range that would be, you know, very normal. I tried the Primal Queen supplement. I talked about that several months ago. I talked about that I was starting it, and that I was like, if something amazing happens with it, you will be hearing more from me about it. My cycle stayed, you know, pretty much the same. So that I tried that, and it was specifically to see if it would lighten up my cycle just a little bit and, you know, maybe push it out a little bit longer. So I was having more of a 28-day cycle. It did neither of those things. I took it for 2 months. I saw no real benefit from it. And so I haven't been taking it since then. And then I was really curious to see what my shift to high carb would do with my cycle. And it's been, now I've been on high carb now for 4 months. And I say high carb, that's like the 400 plus grams of carbohydrates, because I was on 200 grams of carbohydrates before that. And I was still getting my cycle coming probably around 25, 26 days at that point. It did lengthen a little bit from switching from keto, but still, you know, if I could push it out a few more days, that would be fantastic. And so I did find that slowly over the last 4 or 5 months that I have been high carb, which is 400 plus carbs and low fat. We always have to throw that in there because I think the low fat plus the high carb, like you can't separate those. It's not just the carbs. It's not just the low fat. It's the both high carbs and low fat. Since going high carb, my cycle has lengthened out to, this last one was 30 days. 30 days. So still in the realm of normal. I obviously don't want it to get, you know, a lot longer and be abnormal in the other direction. So if I can stick right in that 28 to 30 days, I would be really happy with that. And obviously I haven't had a ton of cycles since I've started because it's only been 4 or 5 months, but I did see it slowly increase up until this last one was a 30 days in length. So I feel like I'm on the right path with that. As far as, you know, lightness versus heaviness, it has gotten a little bit lighter. Not to the point where I'd say it is a very light cycle. I would just say I think it's pretty average. It's so hard to know what is average when you only experience your own. But as far as the cycles that I have experienced throughout my life, I've had times where they've been extremely heavy, and I feel like now they're very average. It's very medium flow. So nothing like super dramatic changing in that area, just like tending to be a little bit lighter. And I'm happy with that because I feel like my cycle's pretty normal at this point. And because I'm having, you know, a little bit longer of a cycle, I'm happy with that. I think I'm on the right track hormonally. Like the signs that I get from my cycle are all positive. All right. Thanks for hanging out with me on this Q&A chat video. I hope you found it interesting. If you have any more burning questions about my diet or my transition from keto to high carb, low fat, leave them down in the comments and I might answer them on another video. Bye guys.